Now, I am understanding, and I completely get it. The Bible tells me it's so, that there is going to be unbelievers that mock. There's going to be unbelievers that hate. There's going to be unbelievers that blaspheme, attack, and ridicule the workings of God. But in recent weeks, I have been surprised and personally shocked by what's going on within the context of religious Christian folks. A man, a soon-to-be retired, soon-to-be decorated detective and pastor, Grayson Fritz, many of us know him well, stands in his own pulpit, in his own church, and he says, Leviticus 18, Leviticus 20, especially verse 13, is true. He says Romans 1 is true. He says Jude is true. He says 2 Peter is true. He says Genesis 19 is true. He says Judges 19 is true. He says the whole book of Revelation is true. And according to the Bible, homosexuals are filthy, vile, reprobate dogs who are worthy of death. He stands in his pulpit, in his church, and proclaims this. And in response, the media, as expected, is slandering, and now that big chain restaurant Cracker Barrel is barring his church folks from even descending upon there as a break in between soul winning to meet and to recharge and to get refreshments and to eat and to carry on. We expect that from the world, right? We expect, of course, yeah, they don't want Christians there. Of course, the media is going to speak ill of us. They're going to do all these things. But this, professed Christians too rise in condemnation, to judge the man for his words and to criticize his words. And here, just as it did in the early pages of the New Testament, and just as it did throughout history, the prophet came with the word of God unto God's own. They came unto his own, and his own what? Received it not. The word of God is being thundered, and 90% of professed Christianity is rejecting it by and large. Regarding specifically to this restaurant barring, okay, all the time and in every state of America, you'll have two queers walk into a Christian bakery. Okay, now it sounds like I'm going to tell a joke now, right? But it's not funny. They go in and they want to buy a wedding cake. They want two men on top of the cake instead of a man and a woman, which is right. The baker says, yeah, no thanks. And they come back with lawsuit papers in hand. They sue the bakery, they ruin them, the legal fees destroy them, and like all over the place, this is happening. We know of some that were really high profile cases, but I'm sure little ones are happening each and every day. They go in and they try to impose their will, and in a free country, the people aren't allowed to decide who they will and who they won't sell to. Shouldn't, as a business owner, I be able to say, no thanks, I'm not going to make that sale, based on my own religious convictions, based on my own judgment, based on my own wherewithal? I mean, I just don't want your money. Can't I just say that? But no. And here, Cracker Barrel turns the tide, and they turn away soul winners who simply want to get a meal. There was no event planned except for what was happening outside of it, and they caught wind of it, and they said, nope, you can't meet here. So when the queers try to sue the cake maker, the Fox Baptists, right, they'll speak up. They'll make their comments. They'll say, oh, this is horrendous. This is awful. But when Cracker Barrel turns away soul winners, in the ultimate picture of hypocrisy, these faux news Baptists condemn the Christians and say, oh, I wouldn't say these types of things. When 15 years ago, these same preachers were thundering these messages across their pulpits and getting great applause and acclamations. We have it on record. You can go listen to it today. That 15 or 20 years ago, Jeff Owens stood and before thousands of hooting and hollering and carrying on independent Baptists at the biggest pulpit in America proclaimed these words. They're vile, they're reprobate, and AIDS is a curse sent from God. Woo! Woo! Baptists running the aisles, just freaking out, loving the preaching. Why isn't he banned from Cracker Barrel? Why? Because that's not popular anymore. Times have changed. The Word of God hasn't changed. I can still open and see the exact same Leviticus 20:13, the exact same Romans chapter 1, the exact same Genesis 19, Jude 19, Judges 19, 2 Peter. I can open these passages and read them the exact same as they were 15 years ago, the exact same as they were 1,000, 2,000, through the end of time, as far back as man can even conceive. The Word of God has not changed, but do you know what changed? Jeff Owens changed. Do you know what changed? The independent Baptists changed. The world moved and got more wicked, and the Baptists stayed just as far away from the world as they did. We've done that illustration before, right? If the world is here and I'm just going to be this unworldly, right? I'm going to be separated from the world. God's over there. Every time the world moves, I move with it. Look, I'm still separate. I'm equally separate. I haven't changed. My standards are this much different from the world. I'm an arm's length from the world. Well, the world gets more wicked. And I keep going with it. And God's way over there wondering, hey, I haven't changed. Why don't you stand with me? That way the world can go into filth and you have not moved. And this is what I plan to do. I plan to do what the Word of God did. It didn't budge. It stayed the same. And yet Jeff Owens and all of these independent Baptist preachers, all of these soft, lame, liberal, watered-down fools have just gotten their theology from Fox News. So as the world moves away, as long as they keep themselves this far away from the world, they feel like they're safe, but they've left the Word of God. They've left off to doing that which is right. The Word came unto them, they received it not. The Word was preached unto Christ's own, and His own received it not.